So, good afternoon. I'm Rupert Turton, and welcome to another Business Spotlight, where we interview local business owners and business people about their journey and their business. Something a little bit different this week. I'm joined by Florian from Generation. Now, Generation are an organisation that get people back into work, helping them to retrain and then work with them to secure jobs. So, Florian, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm very pleased to be here today and to answer your questions. Yeah,
Excellent. So I suppose first thing we should do, just explain what generation does, because it's a really interesting concept.
indeed. So Generation is running education to employment programs. So it's commonly referred to as boot camp provider. We operate in the UK since 2019. And we are based in the UK and Ireland. We have 6 locations in the UK and one in Ireland. So the idea, which is really how Generation was founded, is there's a huge gap between unemployment and companies looking for individuals, talented individuals, and particularly in the tech sector. And so Generation is there to try to bridge that gap. So we have a variety of programs. It can be IT support, data engineering, cloud support, and we train them for a period from 4 to 12 weeks.
Hmm.
Um, During that period of training, we not only train them from a technical point of view, but also from a soft skills point of view, so behaviors, mindsets, that's for success. And we do that through mentoring from day one when they join. They will have a mentor with them up to 6 months post-program, as well as a placement manager that's going to help them with the interview process with our different employer partners. And the ultimate goal is really to help them go back to employment in the tech career that they dreamed of.
So what would a typical client, I suppose, trainee, be doing when they joined you?
Yeah,
Where would
so
what would their background be, I think is my question.
oh yeah. So the background can be from any type of background, really. So when we recruit them, we recruit them on motivate based on motivation, not at
Mm.
all on background. So it's the potential they have really that matters to us, and motivation to not only undergo the training and graduate from it, but also to go back to employment. So we've had people coming from all kind of backgrounds. So people who worked in the past, people who were unemployed for a long period of time, people with degrees, people with no degrees. Um, we open the boot camp from any people that are need, so not on education, employment, or training. And it's age from 18 plus. We used to have an age cap, but it's been removed now, which
Mm.
has also helped us reach to people that were underrepresented or having difficulties going back to employment. So people over 30 years of age that needed a switching career for various reasons. So yeah, it doesn't matter to us really. What we want is help them succeed in that tech career they've chosen.
Yeah, and actually, it's an excellent idea as well, isn't it? Because the older people, so many of us. I mean, my career has been in IT, and I sort of fell into it when I left school. When I went through Polytechnic, I was trained in IT, and then I became an engineer, and the rest is history. But so many people will fall into their first career and then realize it's not the career they really want once they've done it for a few years and look to change. So it's really giving them that opportunity as well.
Yes, and this is the core of what we do. So we try to be as inclusive as possible and to welcome diversity as much as we can, as well
Mm.
as removing as many barriers. So to give you an example, so all employees at Generation are trained to do those admission interviews, as we call them. And I've had a learner once telling me, yes, I was in that sector. I think she was working in catering, and then she told me this is really not what I wanted to do. And I've always wanted to go in IT, but my parents were telling me this is not for you
Yeah.
because this is not for women. I was quite surprised and then shocked, really. And so, yeah, we were there to provide that opportunity that she's never had. So that's the kind of mission and goals we're trying to achieve is to give all those people that are out there and perhaps think it's not for them or have been told this is not for you, just let them know, well, this is a possibility actually. And we do an incredible work to try to reach to those groups that are particularly underrepresented in the tech sector, namely women,
Mm.
people coming from minority ethnic background. So yeah, we really try to target them and let them know there's something for you here. If you want to jump in, we'll support you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And also, actually, as you were speaking, it just occurred to me that a lot of people or a lot of businesses, when they employ staff based on a list of technical skills. But actually, what you're talking about is that person's attitude, their willingness to go out and learn and to adapt and to mold into a new team. And you're basically giving them the entry criteria to get into the job and then build in that job once they're in there as well.
Exactly, and we need to thank all our employee partners who are really committed to that. It's an investment from their side to bet on those learners, but we've
Yeah.
seen it been incredibly positive. So we have a retention rate after a year that's 90%, and
Hmm.
most of those learners after a year actually have either a promotion and or an increase of pay. So we really see that when they are onboarded by those companies, there is a will from those employer partners to
Yeah.
progress them, to train them further. And this is what we think is a great win-win, really.
Yeah. Cool. So you obviously started in the UK just at the beginning of COVID as well. Did that change the way that people were looking for jobs and the way that employers were searching the market?
Yeah, so there was a lesson from us, especially in the West Midlands. So we started right before the lockdown.
Hmm.
Um, and so we had to move from an on-site program to a completely remote program. But if there is one positive aspect about that is we've seen that it's been removing one extra barrier. So people who were having difficulties traveling for financial reasons or because they were parents, had to take care of their children. It's been much easier for them to follow the course online. And so in terms of what we see now, most companies we work with are offering a hybrid policy. So they appreciate the fact that our learners have been taught the entire bootcamp online, so they know how it works. Basically, they know when they need to reach out, and they won't suffer from that isolation.
Yeah.
You can suffer sometimes working from home. They've been trained as well on that aspect.
Yeah, yeah, and actually a big problem during COVID was people missing the office community as well.
Yeah.
So what are the aspirations for generation over the next 5 years or so? What are you expecting to achieve?
Yeah, so we've been going through a huge growth.
Hmm.
We in 22 we started two new programs, so data analyst and Google Cloud support. And the aim in 2023 that was set by our CEO was to become the leading provider of boot camps in the UK and Ireland. And as a charity, this is really much what we want to achieve, not for the sake of it, but because we see we can achieve great things for those learners that we really want to help.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be exciting. We are growing as well. I think at some point we may also look at opening new regions,
Yeah.
extend the offer, and yeah, see where we go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Where do you see the big opportunities being from a career perspective in the next few years?
I think tech is definitely something that will um, remain as it is. It's a huge sector. There's a huge demand, and there's also huge opportunities from a personal perspective to grow yourself in that sector.
Mm.
I think the green sector is going to be tremendous as well. We're launching a retrofit advisor boot camp this year in the West Midlands to suit that need as well. And I think it's going to become more and more something we will have to face. The green sector will take a huge market, I think.
Yeah, and actually, I suppose green sector is also another level of technology as well, isn't it? It's there is an overlap between them and the skills that are involved.
Indeed, and we've seen that some of the partners we work with are interested in both tech programs as well as green programs, so to say.
Yeah.
So there is definitely links to be done. Yeah.
Mm. So we can talk about you for a second as well. So obviously you've got a lot of experience in recruitment historically, and looking at your profile, quite a lot of sales experience. Can I ask you what your biggest learnings, both in business and in life, have been?
Oh, sure. Well, I think is to be able to adapt. So I'm from Belgium originally, so I moved in to the UK. It's been a year now this month,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's been perhaps a challenge adapting to the UK market, adapting to the UK culture, the way of functioning. So that's been a huge learning, and obviously having to work completely and fully in English. That's also been something. And in terms of like purely sales skills, I would say it's a perseverance. I've had my greatest wins after a few months of discussion. So patience, as we say in French, is bitter, but the fruits are very sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, actually, just personally, who is the first person that comes into your mind if I ask you to think about success?
I've I've started my career in the insurance industry, working for a broker of the Lloyd's of London, actually. And there was a financial director there that didn't have any degree, didn't even finish high school, but worked his way, started bringing coffee to more senior people, and then started bringing letters and then got a job in the finance department and ended up being a shareholder of a very successful insurance company. And he was the financial and compliance director. So I think he's always been an example of, when you have the will, you can succeed and achieve anything you want.
Yeah, what a great story as well. And actually, it is a lovely description of actually somebody wanting something and going for it and just working towards the goals as well.
Exactly. And it's also, this is something I very much discovered in the UK. In Belgium, you kind of need to have a master degree in order to be considered for many jobs.
Mm,
Um, Whereas in the UK, it's really not the same. I feel there is much more room to look at the individual and what he or she
mm.
can bring, and how that person will be able to grow in the company and will bring as well, which is very good, I think, and we're lacking that in Belgium. So it's a very good thing you have here in the UK.
Yeah, so focus on the person and what they are capable of, as opposed to their past and what they did historically. And I guess going back to your example earlier, when you were talking about maybe somebody of 30 coming to you for retraining, actually then what they did education wise, particularly around IT 10 years ago, is
Yeah.
pretty much out of date by the time they start applying for the job, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I've had the same. Like, I've worked as a delivery driver, and then I've always thought, can I do something else? And I got that job in the insurance company, being
Yeah, yeah.
interviewed by that director, and he really appreciated the fact that I was waking up at 3 a.m. I had to be punctual. I had to be the manager of my trip all the way. So yeah, you can always transfer skills as well. And this is always the thing I tell the learners, because we do lots of mock interviews with them.
Yeah,
Do not be ashamed of your past experience. There is always somehow a way to turn it into something positive. And it's also part of who you are now and how you arrived where you're at.
yeah.
And it can only be good when you present it well for the job you want to get.
Yeah, brilliant. So before we finish, Florian, can you just explain to people how they would contact Generation?
Sure. Well, you can contact me for the West Midlands. We also have head of partnerships that look at national accounts. So you can find everything on our LinkedIn page, all the information you need, or also on the website, Generation UK Ireland. And yeah, we'll be able to direct you and help you forward.
That's great. Florian, it's been lovely talking to you today. Thanks for giving your time to come and talk to us. Slightly different to what we normally do on the Business Spotlight. But no, thank you for that. That's great. And good luck in the future.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah.